So back in 2023, I had the opportunity to talk with a Texas judge. They were like a criminal appeal or something like that in the like Supreme Court. Anyways, something along those lines. But basically, a state judge, pretty high up. And I was talking with them, a woman. There was three. I actually attended like this True Texas project or something like that. It's like a organization that's statewide that they meet and trying to reform, and these conservative values, right? So I'm like, all right, let's see how serious these people are, as far as like being free people, really pushing back. Anyways, I'll tell you this one little detail that cracks me up to this day, though. First, I went with a buddy and anyways, like one of the first things they did was they kind of were like, all right, well, first let's pledge allegiance. So, and he was like looking at me like, what the hell? Like, the first thing that they're doing is pledging allegiance to, a flag, a state out. And right then it was like, are these people even serious? So give them the benefit of the doubt, I sat there and listened. But I talked to this judge afterwards, and I questioned her. I just kind of was like, I asked her, like, are we a free people? Like, just kind of probing to see how she would react or respond. And she kind of just sat quiet, more listened, right? Because obviously, she's like, oh, kind of, I was trying to bait her, just asking questions and trying to gauge on how she sees, if she's going to come here and talk to these, this group, anyway, the whole point of it was like, she was pretty much like, her attitude and what she said after kind of, I was trying to ask her questions and just telling her my viewpoints. She's like, well, if you don't like it, you can leave. This is a Texas judge that was elected and's coming to this True Texas project about like really taking the power back, right? And let's, that kind of deal. Mind you, I think Biden was in office, so it was probably just a more of a party thing than it was more of like an actual like integral viewpoint. But anyways, but that being said, I want to share this this other thought that I had about these tiers of authority, if you will. It's like some of the most controversial court cases, if you will, were just in the last 4, 5, 6 years, and one of them being within the last few years, with the whole island talk and all this, and I don't even know if you could say his name without even like being shadow banned or whatever, but anyways, y'all know who I'm talking about. And so basically it's like, who's investigating it? How come there haven't been any arrests, any prosecutions, anything? It's like someone went to jail. Apparently they offed themselves in jail, and they had his right-hand woman, I guess she was in jail too. I didn't really keep up with all that stuff. But it's like, no one ever, what happened to her? What's where are the other people, or the perpetrators? What happened with all this stuff? And they're like, oh, don't worry, they're doing their investigation. It's like, okay, who's doing the investigation? Oh, don't worry about it, we got it all in control. It's like, so now this is where it's like, for the question for law enforcement and military, the honorable occupations, if you will, the voluntary, I do this for my country, You know, and it may sound a little sarcastic in all this, you know. I mean, it's a real question, though. You know, like, who's going to hold people's feet to the fire? You know, it's like, you go to your local police department, you know, and then, like, you know, if I, you know, a person of the land, I don't even know how I feel about saying citizen, but either way, it's like, go ask the cop, like, oh, that's way above my league, you know, the CIA or FBI and all these people are you know, I can't do that. I'm just a local cop. Okay, go talk to your sergeant. Go, you know, you, like, if I went to the state, they'd like, you know, they'd laugh me off. It's like, okay, so it's like, how come this isn't put, like, I don't work in law enforcement, and that's another thing. It's like, they're just enforcing law. It's not like really like doing what's right. You know, I would argue that, and I would really have, I'd be like, you know, questioning, like, is that really, you know, law enforcement? Again, it goes back to, well, what about all this stuff going on? I thought you were supposed to enforce the law. You swore an oath, you know? So what's up? You know, and then so the point is like, it's like a company. Like, I might be like the bottom lower tier helper, you know, but I can go talk to, like, maybe my supervisor, and then the supervisor can go talk to their manager, and so forth, and it can go up the chain of commands till it gets to, like, the directors or something, right? It's like, well, I don't even work for that company. I don't work for law enforcement, you know? So are they complicit? That's the question. Like, are you complicit? It's like, no, that's just not my job. It's like, but you go give people just speeding tickets. That's your job. That's what you really signed up for. How honorable, you know? I mean, yeah, it sounds really down talking. I you know, that's, to me, it's just kind of crazy. But then again, I've been told that I'm pretty, you know, out there, which, I mean, I think most people would understand. But anyways, yeah, so basically, to wrap this up, it's like, how come they're not pushing up the chain of command, if you will? You know, if it's all about, you know, law enforcing and doing the right thing, you know, and getting the bad guys, you know, so it's like, why don't the local cops go to the state cops, and, you know, or like county sheriffs, and then the state, and then the states band together and go get, you know, go up to DC basically, or Virginia, the CIA, wherever. But, you know, so is it really about law enforcement? You know, I would question that. I guess it just depends on if the shoe or the boot fits, right? So anyways, you know, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I think I made the point. But anyways, I hope y'all have a good day. Just something to think about. But stay focused on yourself. I know I'm over here ranting about stuff that's out of my control. Best thing to do is just stay centered. Focus on what you can and can't do. And then anything that, you know, maybe is like outsourced, if you will, if working towards a goal to kind of get everything that you're kind of outsourcing, if you will, maybe closer to your proximity that you could possibly control, or have an influence on. But anyways, definitely just prepare, you know, to, you know, be more self-reliant, you know, for self-preservation. That's what I'd say, is be more self-reliant and do what you can to promote self-preservation, to assist in that. But anyways, I hope you all have a good day.